নমস্কার। আজকে আমরা হিউম্যান রিপ্রোডাকশন এর পঞ্চম পার্ট ফিফথ ক্লাস এই নিয়ে আলোচনা করব। নিট বায়োলজির খুব গুরুত্বপূর্ণ ওজেনেসিস। আমরা বাংলা এবং ইংলিশ দুটো মিশিয়ে বলছি। In case of previous classes, we have already discussed that what are the different follicles, what are the follicular stages, and what are the basic structure of secondary oocytes. Secondary oocyte এর different part গুলো কি আছে আমরা বলেছি। Now the oogenesis, এর আমরা স্পারমাটোজেনেসিস যেমন পড়েছি তেমনি oogenesisও পড়বো। oogenesis এ আমরা দেখব ফার্স্ট সেল, ডিপ্লয়েড সেল, এটা হচ্ছে প্রাইমোর্ডিয়াল জার্ম সেল। This is a primordial germ cell, and primordial germ cell is 2n, diploid. Primordial 46 chromosome number undergoes meiosis. Mitosis first, mitosis division produces oogonium. As I mentioned that this phenomenon in case of female child, this phenomenon occurred when child even inside the fetus, and millions of oogonium developed from primordial germ cells. Millions of oogonium present in a diploid condition, and this oogonium, not only in a oogonium stage, this oogonium also divides at the primary oocyte stage, and before birth and up to the age of puberty. These primary oocytes, this oogonium undergoes mitosis to form the primary oocytes. In primary oocytes, the meiosis started. Primary oocytes during before the entry of puberty, at the adolescence, before the entry of puberty, the primary oocytes remain in arrested condition at the diplotin stage of prophase 1. With that, meiosis has two parts, meiosis 1, meiosis 2, and meiosis 1's prophase is, in case of meiosis 1, the prophase 1 is prophase phase is again subdivided into leptotin, zygotin, packaging, diplotin, diakinesis, and this primary oocyte is remained in arrested condition at the diplotin stage of prophase 1 of meiosis 1. So this one is first arrest, that is before birth and up to the puberty. Up to the puberty or up to the age of adolescence, female child's oogonium primary oocytes remain in arrested condition at the primary oocyte stage, and which stage? At the prophase 1 phase in a diplotin stage. Now at the start of puberty, when it attains at the 12 to 14 years old, at the age of puberty, meiosis 1 completed. In response to FSH, LH and androgens, meiosis 1, which was in a arrested condition at the primary oocyte level, was completed. How it is completed? Now this primary oocytes divides completely and produces secondary oocyte and a polar body, first polar body or polocyte. It may also be asked as a polocyte. So the first the two cell primary oocyte divides meiotically. First meiotic division complete and forms secondary oocyte and first polar body. The secondary oocyte is again, secondary oocyte undergoes this, but secondary oocyte, after forming the secondary oocyte not immediately divide. The egg remain in arrested condition at the metaphase 2 stage, of this secondary oocyte. At the metaphase stage, this secondary oocyte remain in arrested condition up to the entry of the sperm into the ovum. When sperm gets enter into the ovum, then immediately secondary oocytes divides and form a ovum, mature ovum and a polar body. And this polar body, first polar body, again divide meiotically to form two polar body. So after complete division of a single oogonium, primordial germ single oogonium phase is one ovum, one mature ovum and three polar body. In case of spermatocytes, we have seen that one primary spermatogenesis in case of one primordial germ cell is divided into 4 mature sperm, but in this case single ovum is produced and several two arrested stages there. First arrested stage is where before puberty and during the age of childhood or at the inside the fetus, the egg is arrested in a primary oocyte condition at the prophase 1 diploiding stage, and the second one is arrested at the secondary oocyte condition at the metaphase 2 stage, and up to which till the sexual reproduction, that is till the entry of sperm into the secondary oocyte. So this is a overall oogenesis phenomenon. In this case, very important thing is that is very important that the secondary oocyte, that is when egg or ovum is released from the during the ovulation, egg or ovum is not released, that is secondary oocyte released, and after entry of sperm inside the secondary oocyte, then it is converted into ovum. So ovum is actually developed after fertilization, not before fertilization. However, these questions are asked so many cases. However, now the hormonal regulation. What is actually the hormonal regulation? In a oogenesis process, we know that in a hypothalamus is a super gland. The hypothalamus produces gonadotropin release factor hormone. Gonadotropin releasing hormones are coming at through the blood circulation. They are mixed to the blood, they are endocrine gland, and mixed to the blood and coming to the pituitary. In response to gonadotropin release factor hormone, pituitary release from the anterior part of the pituitary. It releases two major and most important hormone. One is FSH, another is LH, follicle stimulating hormone and luteinizing hormone. Follicle stimulating hormones, its name implies that it actually stimulates the development of follicles. Here, follicle stimulating hormone direct targets the ovarian follicles. Ovarian follicles increase in size, becomes mature and converted into Graafian follicle, and these Graafian follicle contains huge amount of granulosa cells. These granulosa cells will produce the estrogen hormone. So FSH is directly related to the estrogen increasement, and also it also activates the granulosa cells, and also granulosa cells not only produce the estrogen but also produce the inhibin hormone. Inhibin is a hormone, this is a proteinaceous hormone, this is a steroidal hormone. This is a steroidal. So questions are asked that this is a steroids and this is proteinaceous. So this proteinaceous hormone directly inhibits the level of FSH. How? By negative feedback loop. Inhibin directly inhibit the pituitary, anterior pituitary, and will give a negative signal, negative feedback that sufficient amount of FSH is there. So stop, release the FSH. In this case, FSH function here, then LH regulation. Luteinizing hormones get attached to the theca interna region. In the previous class, we have discussed that the theca interna is very important. It attached to the theca interna region. In the theca interna region, it releases, theca interna cell produce androgens. Androgens means so many, as a group of hormones, steroidal hormones. Androgens then enter into the granulosa cells inside the secondary oocyte. In a granulosa cell, these androgens will be converted into estrogen. Estrogen is a group of hormone also, estradiol, estron. So this estrogen now accumulates in a antrum follicule. In a secondary oocyte, antrum follicle is there. Antrum follicle filled with a liquid substance that are nothing but a estrogen. And so luteinizing hormones function here, the estrogen production also. Here also steroid FSH also increase the steroid hormone production, estrogen. LH hormone is another function, is it increase before the ovulation. LH level will be increased. We will see later that LH will increase the ovulation. Sorry, LH level will increase just before the ovulation. So this is called LH surge. That is, blood LH level becomes high before the ovulation. So it's called LH surge. So ovulation, LH is directly related to the release of secondary oocyte from the Graafian follicle called ovulation. So after the ovulation, after the release of the secondary oocyte, the Graafian follicle will be converted into a secondary most important gland. The second most important gland is called corpus luteum. This corpus luteum releasing so many hormones. Most important hormone is progesterone, and also release the estrogen, relaxin, and inhibin. We will later discuss that. What are the functions of progesterone? We know that the progesterone is a pregnancy hormone. That is, if sexual fertilization occur, sexual reproduction occur, that is successful entry of a sperm into the egg occur, then progesterone level will increase and the corpus luteum supply huge amount of progesterone so that pregnancy will continue. And estrogen and relaxin and inhibin also be produced. And up to the 120 days, that up to the 3 months, corpus luteum continuously release progesterone. After 3 months of birth, after 3 months of pregnancy, placenta will take the charge. Placenta will produce huge amount of progesterone to continue the pregnancy, so that pregnancy will not be terminated. However, so this is a pituitary hormonal regulatory pathway. What actually the hormone? So theca interna cells being responded by the LH. LH hormones receptors are present in the theca interna cells, and FSH levels, FSH hormones receptors are present in the granulosa cells. Granulosa cells contain the FSH receptors. So both important these are, and here is the very small area. I have tried to adjust it inside. Please try to understand what happened is actually here is a 28 day cycle, 1 to 28 day cycle, and we can divide this a 28 day cycle into so many phases. How? If we consider on the basis of ovarian cycle are 3: follicular phase, ovulation, and luteal phase. In a case of ovary, we know that in an ovary, 3 phenomena, that is the Graafian follicles increase in ovary, ovulation occur in ovary, and corpus luteum is developed in ovary. So this is the ovarian cycle. So 3 ovarian cycle are follicular, ovulation, follicular phase, ovulation phase, and luteal phase. But in case of uterine cycle, uterus has its own cycle. But now, first 1 to 3 days, it is a menstruation cycle. Sometimes it's 4 or 5 or 6. So this is the menstruation phase, 1 to 3. First day of menstruation to 3 or 4 day, this is a bleeding time. This is called menstruation phase. After 3 to 14 days, this is a proliferative phase. Proliferation means uterine wall becomes so perceptive. Uterine inner wall becomes so perceptive. This is the proliferation of different glands. This is called proliferative phase. Up to the 14 day to 28 day, it is called secretory phase. What are the secretory phase? No. Secretory means several hormones, several glands of the uterine endometrium inner wall of the uterus becomes secretory, so that it can receive the secondary fertilized ovum. Now follicular phase, ovulation, and luteal phase. This is the ovarian phase, and this is menstruation phase. In case of ovarian cycle, uterine cycle is again three types. The menstruation. This is a menstruation phase, proliferative phase, and secretory phase. This 3 phase. So in case of ovarian respect, is a 3 phase, and in case of uterine cycle, if we consider, then it has a 3 phase: menstruation phase, proliferative phase, and secretory phase. You have to understand and also remember that what are actually the phases. Now we will discuss about what is actually the hormonal level during this 28-day cycle? Which hormone present in a peak and which hormone present in a lower condition? So here, from day 1 of menstruation to 14th day, we are seeing that LH level will be high. I have mentioned that LH level becomes high before 1 or 2 days of ovulation, and at the day of ovulation it will increased in a highest level, increased to highest level, and this is the LH level. This is LH surge. So this graph is LH at the day of ovulation. LH level is high, and just below it, this is the FSH level. Also FSH level is increased at the date of ovulation. So this is a FSH and H2 curve, and here is a 2 curve also given on the basis of estrogen and progesterone level in a blood of a female, mature female. So from 1 to 14 day, before 14 days, the 12 to 13 day, it is static, it is not increased. But from 12th day, it is start to increasing. Another day of 14, 15, 16, the level of estrogen is highest at peak. Level of estrogen is highest, is gradually decreased at the 21 or 22 days. Sorry, at the 16, 17 to 18 days, it is lowered down, and again it is increasing at the last stage, the 25 to 28 days. And progesterone level is remain in a static condition throughout the 14 day of a cycle, that is the proliferative phase and menstruation phase. And after the ovulation, the progesterone, that is, it is directly related to the estrogen, is directly related, that is it is directly related to the corpus luteum formation. When corpus luteum formed, that is here, what happened, the secondary oocyte is released at the day of ovulation. As the secondary oocyte released, secondary oocyte is present in a Graafian follicle burst. So Graafian follicle, inside the Graafian follicle, the estrogen is stored in an antrum follicule. So estrogen is also released. So estrogen level becomes high after the ovulation. And after the ovulation, estrogen level is high. Then with the 2 to 3 days, estrogen level lower down. Now, if that Graafian follicle is converted into what? Corpus luteum. That Graafian follicle is converted into corpus luteum, and corpus luteum first function is to release the progesterone. So 2 to 3 days, after 3 to 4 days actually, the corpus luteum becomes developed, and after this progesterone level will be high because corpus luteum becomes active now. So progesterone will become high. So this is a graphical representation of different level of estrogen and progesterone. Why? It is related to the Graafian follicle. Graafian follicle when burst at the day of ovulation, estrogen level high. Graafian follicle when converted into corpus luteum, then progesterone level high at the 2 or 3 days later. So at the day of 14, estrogen level is at the peak, 14 to 16 and 17. And then after this, progesterone level becomes high, and gradually before the just menstruation is also lowered down. So questions are asked in that that sense. You will be given these kinds of graphs, and given the A, B, C, D, which one is which. So you have to understand this. So this is a overall oogenesis procedure. Here, oogenesis procedure. Here the arresting stages. What are they actually arresting? This is the before birth and at the puberty. Before birth and up to the puberty. This is a hormonal regulation, and this is a graphical presentation of different hormone levels in the blood. Thank you.